Ratatosk. They just talk to him, never give him any guff at all, but ask him nicely if he'd be so kind as to tell their enemy far, far away such and such. And they say, "Hey, Ratatosk, you don't have to hurry. Take your time, please." Okay, so you're saying he's a burly squirrel? No, I'm saying he's turbo burly. Paul Bunyan proportions, because his size is proportionate to the world tree. He's bigger than you and I put together, big enough that Needhug thinks of him as an equal instead of a snack. The only reason we've never heard of anyone climbing Yggdrasil's roots to get to Asgard is because you'd have to be nuts to try it. Right, she said with a smirk. And Ratatosk eats nuts. That's right. I bobbed my head once with the sardonic grin of my own. Well then, Granuaile wondered aloud, exactly where are the roots of Yggdrasil anyway? I assume they're somewhere in Scandinavia, but you'd think they would have shown up on satellite by now. The roots of Yggdrasil are on an entirely different plane, and that's really why no one has tried to climb them. But they're tethered to the earth just like Tir na Nog is, or the Elysian Fields, or Tartarus, or what have you. And coincidentally, a certain druid you know is also tethered to the earth through his tattoos, I said, holding up my inked right arm. Granuaile's mouth opened in astonishment as the import of my words sank in, quick to follow the implication to its logical conclusion. So you're saying you can go anywhere? Uh-huh, I confirmed. But it's not something I brag about. I pointed a finger at her. Nor should you, once you're bound the same way. Plenty of gods are already worried about me because of what happened to Angus Og and Bress. But since I killed them on this plane, and since Angus Og started it, they don't figure I've turned into a deicidal maniac. In their minds, I'm highly skilled in self-defense, but not a mortal threat to them, as long as they don't pick a fight. And they still believe that merely because they've never seen a druid in their territory before, they never will. But if the gods knew I could get to anyone, anywhere, my perceived threat level would go through the roof. Can't the gods go anywhere? Uh-uh, I said, shaking my head. Most gods can go only two places, their own domain and Earth. That's why you'll never see Kali in Olympus, or Ishtar in Abasara. I haven't visited even a quarter of the places I could go. Never been to any of the heavens. Went to Nirvana once, but it was kind of boring. Now, don't get me wrong, it's a beautiful plane, but the complete absence of desire meant nobody wanted to talk to me. Mamel is truly gorgeous. You've got to go there. And you've got to go to Middle-earth to see the Shire. Shut up! She punched me in the arm. You haven't been to Middle-earth? Sure, why not? It's bound to our world like all the other planes. Elrond is still in Rivendell, because that's where people think of him being, not the Grey Havens. And I'm telling you right now, he looks nothing like Hugo Weaving. I also went to Hades once, so I could ask Odysseus what the sirens had to say, and that was a mind-blower. Can't tell you what they said, though. You're going to tell me I'm too young again, aren't you? No, you simply have to hear it for yourself to properly appreciate it. It involves Hassenpfeffer and sea serpents and the end of the world. Granuaile narrowed her eyes at me and said, Fine, don't tell me. So what's your plan for Asgard? Well, first I have to choose a route to climb, but that's easy. I'd rather avoid Ratatosk, so I'm going up the one from Jotunheim. Not only does Ratatosk rarely travel it, but it's a far shorter climb from there than from Niflheim. Now, since you seem to have been reading up on this, tell me what direction I must go to find where the Well of Mimir would be bound to this plane. East, Granuaile said immediately. Jotunheim is always to the east. That's right, to the east of Scandinavia. The Well of Mimir is tethered to a subarctic lake some distance from the small Russian town of Nadim. That's where I'm going. I'm not up to date on my small Russian towns. Where exactly is Nadim? It's in western Siberia. All right, you go to this particular lake. Then what? There'll be a tree root drinking from the lake. It'll not be an ash tree, more of a stunted evergreen, because it's essentially tundra up there. Once I find this root, I touch it, bind myself to it, pull my center along the tether, and then I'm hugging